And so we'll go through when we're assessing a medical malpractice case, and I like to kind of analogize these into construction projects. Like you have phase. So phase one is getting the basic facts from a potential client, and do those facts tend to give rise to a medical malpractice case? Does it make sense, or is the harm sufficient to justify? Then if it passes phase one, then we'll get the records pertaining to the particular procedure that was malpractice, taking a quick look at those to see, okay, does it match what the potential client is saying? And does it appear like there's a pretty clear breach? If it passes phase two, then we'll get a more extensive history of the client's medical history. So phase three is about the causation element. And then at that point, once we have the records that relate to the breach and relate to the harm of the breach, then we're getting additional records. And then at that point, we're sending those to potential experts to assess, hey, could you support in an affidavit breach, or there are causation issues that you see here that we need to kind of hunt down? And we may at that time get additional experts to help us on causation, even if we wouldn't want an affidavit or don't need an affidavit from them right now to bring the case, just so that we're building the case from the get-go on a solid foundation to put the client in the best position and to know as much as we can know before committing hundreds of thousands of dollars into a case. Like for example, we get a lot of calls, and I think it happens a lot, that people's bowels are nicked during a laparoscopic type surgery, or you have an infection following a surgery. Those bad events, bad outcomes, unfortunately happen in the absence of negligence. It's almost impossible to prove negligence was the cause, or the breach of the standard of care was the cause of that bad outcome. So if it's something and the outcome isn't truly catastrophic, that happens. An infection case that would potentially cause us to look at it further is, I've got a case right now. It also involves a colonoscopy, but they didn't discover the nick in time. And when the patient presented back at the hospital, hey, I've got this bleeding, I've got all these other issues, they didn't tend to it in time, and she ultimately passed. So the breach in the standard of care in that case isn't the fact that she happened to be nicked or cut where she shouldn't have been during the underlying surgery. That unfortunately happens. It was the response once she was to the situation that's the actual breach of the standard of care.